Earlier this year, eyewitness investigator David Hammer showed how real estate fraud is on the rise in our area. But as David dug deeper, he found one man accused of real estate fraud in at least 7 lawsuits and banned for his actions by the U.S. bankruptcy court. And yet this self-described investor is still proudly posting his real estate conquests on social media. It's our David Hammer investigation on real estate.
How y'all doing there?
New Orleanian Jonathan Burton likes to go on social media and show how he scores big real estate deals.
All right, Facebook IG.
He shows himself telling people he can save their homes from foreclosure.
I'll make sure you get the 200,000 one way or the other.
Here he is on the Note Closers Show podcast, talking about what he calls his hustle.
I get a decision made kind of right then and there, okay, listen, you want to sell this thing, you know what I'm saying? Do you want to stay, you know what I'm saying? Tell me what's going on. I kind of find out everything was going on.
Here's how Jonathan Burton describes his real estate investment process. He finds properties facing foreclosure or tax sale. He goes and knocks on the door and tells the owners he can help them save their home if they pay him instead. Then he has them sign some documents. He calls it collateral in case they don't pay him. But several owners allege in court Burton did nothing in exchange for their payments and tricked them into signing documents that actually turned their properties over to him. We've tried repeatedly over the last week to reach Burton, leaving phone, email, and text messages with him and some of his attorneys. But he did defend his methods on the podcast.
We're not taking advantage of anybody, you know what I'm saying? We're here to help and provide, good help, because if not, they'll drown. They're going to lose the property or whatever the case may be.
Public court and real estate records show Burton often pays nothing or some undisclosed valuable consideration to take ownership of houses that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes even more.
I'm about to take down. I'm watching the match that work.
Last October, Burton went to Catherine Stewart's $1 million mansion in the Garden District and bragged on Instagram that he met with her for almost 5 hours.
I raised my kids here, my husband died here.
Stewart owned the home outright, but her husband took out a reverse mortgage in 2013 to pay for rising medical expenses. When he died in 2019, she owed nearly $400,000. She had an offer to buy the house for $1.1 million, plenty enough to stop the foreclosure. Then Burton showed up at her door.
They offered you $1.1 million, and they ain't gonna be able to perform.
I understand all of that.
I'm gonna offer you $700,000, and I'm gonna perform.
She signed what Burton told her in a text was just a, quote, backup offer. Instead, court documents show Burton filed it as a purchase agreement in the Orleans Parish land records, with all the dollar amounts scratched out. It was enough to cloud the property's title and block Stewart's sale to the real buyers, all with time running out to stop a foreclosure.
Ms. Stewart understood that this deal was nowhere near as good as the 1.1.
Sal Bivalacqua is an attorney.
But in her mind, based on what he told her, that was, if everything gets blown up, at least I have something left.
He represented Stewart and another homeowner who filed a similar lawsuit against Burton. They got Burton's documents removed from the official record both times, but in Stewart's case, she had to agree to pay Burton $85,000 not to hold up the sale anymore. So he ends up coming out winning.
He walks away with $85,000 for putting up not a penny and misleading Miss Stewart and making a lot of false promises.
Johnny Robinson says he knows what that's like. He took care of his sister Lorraine after she had a stroke in 2017, and he hired bankruptcy attorney Jonathan DeTrenis in 2020 to file for bankruptcy protection and save the Central City home Lorraine had owned for 30 years.
She had every right to stop the foreclosure, save her house from foreclosure, and that's what we did.
But after Lorraine died in January of this year, Jonathan Burton filed this purchase agreement in the city land records, claiming Lorraine had signed the house over to him back in 2019. Again, the terms of the transfer are blacked out in the official record.
And it just didn't make sense to me. Why would Lorraine give up ownership interest in her property, then spend 3 years paying back mortgages and debts on the property, only to have it taken by someone for nothing?
Now, Burden comes to collect the rent from the tenants in Lorraine Robinson's old house. And when Johnny Robinson shows up, Burden calls the cops on him. Because for now, city records show Burden is the rightful owner.
Yeah, leave this man alone, leave the tenants alone, and let it be done.
On the Note Closers show in 2019, Burden said this.
So I'm a credit repair agent for this company called FES. All right, Financial Education Services.
Last year, the Federal Trade Commission shut down financial education services for preying on the poor with a, quote, credit repair pyramid scheme. The podcast host even asked Burden if it was hard to get an attorney to help him create loan documents.
My attorney, David Birdsong, he knows this. He knows all about this stuff.
David Birdsong is a title attorney at Gulf South Title in Metairie. He declined to go on camera, but he told us he's closed several real estate deals for Burden and answers legal questions for him, but added, quote, I would not characterize myself as his attorney in an ongoing relationship.
If you are, it's sometimes helping people file bankruptcy so they can avoid a foreclosure.
Yeah, I don't do it myself. I consult them unless I got some type of power of attorney or some type of, something like that.
In 2020, a U.S. Justice Department trustee found Burden improperly filed bankruptcy petitions for at least 11 different homeowners, even though, quote, neither Mr. Burden nor his agents are licensed attorneys. The bankruptcy court responded by banning Burden from offering any more debt relief services or bankruptcy assistance, but none of it seems to stop him.
Maybe even put him in jail, because, they hurting people out there, man.
Until then, Burden will keep getting folks to sign real estate deals with him.
Print your name, you gotta sign your name now.
And post them on social media. David Hammer, Eyewitness News.
If you believe you're a victim of real estate fraud, the Louisiana Attorney General's office says you should report it to your local police or sheriff's office. Attorneys say you should never sign any sale or loan documents without consulting a real estate professional, a licensed realtor, or an attorney.